What's up, husbandos, waifus, other people who don't like anime, and welcome back to the Anime Egotists. We got the debonair, devilish, deplorable Foster here, and I'm joined by the ridiculous, the ravishing, the repugnant Williamson. What's going on, buddy?
Not much. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, man. I just celebrated one of my favorite franchises ever, Pokemon. You remember that, right? You know Pokemon, right?
No, never heard of it.
Oh, of course, that's great. Well, they've had a couple of video games. It's all right, but today, you guys, first of all, happy belated Pokemon Day. Happy Pokemon Day for the anime, the video games, the manga, whatever you want to celebrate. And if you don't like Pokemon and you're here listening to us, then what the hell are you doing here? Like, it clearly says Pokemon in the title. Like, why else would you be here? Like, I don't get it.
They can just like the video and leave.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair. It's always some feedback is better than no feedback. So please comment, subscribe, or all that other stuff. Donate to our non-existent Patreon, all that other jazz. And today we are here to talk about Pokemon, the movie Mewtwo Strikes Back Evolution. Basically, a redone version of the first Pokemon movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, so before we get into it, before we get into our whole review of it, overall, what were your thoughts on this movie?
It was enjoyable to watch again. There are some things that I definitely want to talk about. Yeah, there were definitely things that they did differently that were hit or miss for me.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. Out of all the Pokemon movies, because I'm just gonna come out and say this, most of the Pokemon movies, in my opinion, are kind of hit or miss. A couple of them are great, but most of them are just sort of there for me. Like they're not really all that good, but they're not horrible. Trust me, there are a couple of horrible ones. Maybe we'll get to that someday. But overall, I've always said that the first Pokemon movie was, oh boy. I've always said the first Pokemon movie was pretty overrated, and when you go back and watch it as an adult, it's kind of not as good as you remember it. So I didn't have the highest hopes going into this movie, but overall, I at least enjoyed it.
Yeah, I always felt that the first one, I mean, it's on the better side of the Pokemon movie curve, in my opinion, but it's not definitely not in the top few, I would say.
Yeah. And we've talked about reviewing all of the Pokemon movies, not necessarily in one giant video, but just split up into multiple ones. So if you want us to do that, let us know, and I'm sure we'll get back to you in like 7, 8 months, maybe.
Yep. Once our schedules line up again.
So 7, 8 years. All right, we got this. But overall, let's get into Pokemon, the movie Mewtwo Strikes Back Evolution. So the movie starts off, and they're trying to, and from what I remember, they're trying to find Mewtwo or basically Mew, and these guys are wandering through a forest, and I'm already figuring out my biggest problem with this movie so far. They don't explain anything.
Yeah, you're right. They just kind of, here's this. Oh, we found the fossil. Oh, here we go. And great. Now we've got a clone.
It's like, okay, hey, we have to find the mystical Pokemon. Okay, what's a Pokemon? That's like, we have to find Mew. What's Mew? Ooh, the fossils. What are those flying things over there? Here, it doesn't explain anything, and they fixed that. It's just like the actual first Pokemon movie. They don't really explain a whole lot of anything. But what I find really funny is later down the line in the movies, like the third, fourth, and fifth movie or whatever, they say, "Hey, these are Pokemon. This is all the stuff you need to know. This is this is more on number one, Ash. This is more on number two, Misty, and more on number three, Brock." They explain just about everything. So I'm not sure why the first movie just decided, they'll know what we're talking about. Well, they'll know.
They thought it might be the last movie as well, so.
Yeah, which is odd considering it was called Pokemon, the first movie. So I don't know. They're both self-conscious and in love with themselves at the same time. I don't know. But anyway, I want to talk about, before we get more into it, the visuals. Overall, when I first saw the trailer, I was kind of like everybody else. I was like, why the hell does it look like this? Why does it look like HBO made a kids Pokemon movie? But overall, I kind of got used to it for the most part.
So I really liked the Pokemon, and like when they were battling, I thought the animation looked really good. I absolutely hated Ash's design. Oh my god, because I think it's because they showed his face up close the most. His mouth freaked me the fuck out.
His mouth has always sort of bothered me. But I guess I do kind of see that. But what I found weird is, you know how in anime, particularly in Pokemon, you'll see the main characters talking and moving somewhat naturally and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But then you see the extra characters, the characters without names, and they're just standing like
Yeah,
completely having different conversation. And I they took that away, and I'm actually kind of glad about that, because honestly, that it kind of creeps me out. It's just like, you thinking of entering the Pokemon Gym M contest? I'm like, yeah, I think I might do that. And there's just other people around who are just like,
yeah. The only thing else that bothered me about the animation on my first watching was some of the mouths didn't match up for the vocals they were having. So
oh yeah, I saw that. I noticed that a couple of times.
it's like I'm guessing it's harder to match up since it's a different style of animation, but I don't know.
Yeah,
With it being such a big company, I thought they could have at least done something to make it completely match up.
I guess I can understand that. I guess I can, in particular, the fur on the Pokemon on looked actually, because you kind of forget that a lot of these are like furry looking creatures. So I thought some of the textures for the hair in particular were nice.
That and the scales on like Gyarados, it's like you forget when you look at the uh, game sprite that it's got scales.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be a
And,
sea monster.
yeah. And speaking of hairy monsters, it's time for the sponsor of today's video. We don't have a sponsor. Manscaped, if you want us to shout you guys out, just let us know. Like, please pay us.
Eventually, we'll make a video and you can be a sponsor of it.
Woohoo! Awesome. Anyways, so basically, they go around in the forest. They talk about the clone. We need Mewtwo. Well, like I've said before, it would have been helpful had they explained everything that was happening. Eventually, they're creating Mew. They finally create him, and Mewtwo kind of whines about it for the first few minutes. It's just like, I didn't ask to be created, which is fair. I didn't ask to be born either. But I don't know, it kind of felt whiny to me. Mewtwo in particular, who's just like, I didn't ask to be born. I was like, I don't know.
Well, I'm trying to. I will have to go back and probably watch at least the first part of the original because I don't remember there being that much dialogue between him and the scientists. I
Oh,
seem to remember that they celebrate that he's awake, but then that's it.
that's the funny thing. In the original Japanese version, it was something like, a scientist created Mewtwo because he was trying to perfect cloning to bring back his deceased daughter. All the other clones died, and they were basically like, hey, you're not just a clone, you're your own person. That to me, it could have worked, but they're just like, hey, we finally created this powerful new Pokemon. Well done. Like, they didn't say, oh, we can finally take over the world with this object, or we're gonna beat this thing up or anything like. It's just like, oh, we've done it. Good job. And Mewtwo's like, why am I alive? Why am I alive? And then brutally murders them all for. He
All but
kind
at
of
least
just.
one.
He's just like, and the whole time I'm thinking, they couldn't get away with this in the show. Like a Pokemon dying or a couple people dying, that's fine. But mass murder doesn't seem to be on Pokemon's radar just yet.
I don't know. We'll see if they get an adult rating eventually.
Goodness, please
Check out
no.
our previous video.
But anyway, but anyways, basically, and from what I remember, immediately before he tries to kill them all, he like bursts out. Oh, and then they chain him. They like grab him with like these mechanical arms, and then he kills them all anyway. I'm like, dude, you were about to attack them. They had every right to defend themselves before you just decided to be a murdering son of a bitch. What? Anyways, he gets to Giovanni, and Giovanni's like, hey, we should be working, Pokemon and humans should be working together. And Mewtwo believes him for some reason. That
Yeah,
didn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
it's like humans and just celebrated creating you that pissed you off. But I'm fine with believing this guy who randomly showed up in my life 5 seconds after I murdered a whole bunch of people.
Yeah, and who somehow didn't seem to be affected at all by the blast or anything. He just sort of showed up, whatever. So, continuing with the movie, Mewtwo gets his armor, like everybody knows. He helps Team Rocket catch a bunch of different Pokemon. He's in the gym where we get an odd cameo from Gary, which is kind of nice to see. It's kind of nice to see they didn't completely forget about him in the end.
Well, I mean, that was actually in the original movie, as far as I remember, is that they show him, because they even mention it in the anime, when Gary goes to challenge the gym before Ash. It's kind of, he goes, there's some super strong Pokemon in there. Then Ash goes in and it's actually Team Rocket running the gym.
You know, maybe if they were the villains of the movie, it would have been nice. But no, they were the true heroes. But anyway, and then out of nowhere, after catching all the Pokemon, after being super successful, Giovanni says, I used you. Like, you're nothing but a tool, which did make a whole lot of sense. And he just, like, I could understand if Mewtwo is a psychic and he reads Giovanni's mind and figures it out, but just for Giovanni to be like, hey, I was using you. Sucks to suck, doesn't it?
Yeah, that was something else. I actually really enjoyed the way the armor looked in this movie, because I know it was different from the original version, which was nice to see that they did make some changes and do some redesign. It was really kind of cool looking.
Yeah, I enjoyed it too. It almost kind of looked like a Power Rangers-esque battleizer weapon. And it further fuels people who want to see Pokemon armor in Pokemon games, and we're not gonna get it. Just move on. We're not. It's not happening. What happens next? So Mewtwo decides, oh, I can't trust humans anymore. I can't trust them. Even though the first several 20-something people were like, hey, we're willing to work with you, while Giovanni's just like, no, you're a tool. So I don't know. I guess to me, it sort of symbolized Mewtwo, despite being all powerful and everything, is basically a child. I mean, he was created within a few months. He was catching Pokemon, and I guess within the next few months, there's no real timeline for this. They just decide, you know what? He's kind of had the maturity of a child at times, kind of like Frieza from Dragon Ball. But I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe that's what they were going for. Maybe it was just have him get angry and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of his story of learning about the world and that you can't judge everybody based on the actions of a few. Is kind of the whole story and moral of this movie.
Yeah, which applies so much to the world today, but we're not here to talk about that right now. Now, and next we see our three heroes of the movie, Ash, Misty, and Brock, and they're just hanging out in the middle of a field, hurrying up to, they were gonna have lunch.
Yep, on the cliff overlooking the sea.
Yeah. We come on, guys. We really have to hurry to the side of this cliff for a meal that hasn't even been prepared yet. Who knows? Maybe they heard about the running time and they had to speed things up. I don't know. No, but all joking aside, it's nice to see our three heroes back together again. I've missed seeing the three of them. I like a lot of the traveling companions we've got over the years, but Misty and Brock, they were something special. It's nice to see them back again.
Yeah, some of the companions have definitely been hit or miss since then it's, I don't know. They've tried to recapture it a few times, and have come close, but I don't know.
Yeah,
You're right.
definitely. So it's just good to see them again, and then we get our first. Wait, no, I can't skip past this. The whole time they're like, "Okay, let's make lunch. Okay, let's do that." Setting up the table, Ash puts one plate down. He's like, "I'm tired." I'm like, dude, help the. The more things change, the more they stay the same.
Yep, and then we end up with our first Pokemon battle.
Yeah, some dude with dreadlock swipes who y'all better not say is me. Fuck that. Okay. Hey,
Well, in the original, he's apparently from Red Team Aqua because he has the symbol on his hat of Team Aqua when he shows up.
Shh, they don't exist yet. We're not allowed to talk about them. We're not allowed to talk about teams that don't exist yet.
Well, I think they got rid of it in this movie. I don't remember seeing it. So
off the top of my head, no. Maybe he's just a One Piece cosplayer. I don't know. And they have their Pokemon battle, and we get to hear another redone version of the original Pokemon theme. And as usual, it's glorious. It's great. Can't wait to download it someday. Hey, but I did notice something. Hey, because the first movie, he sent out two Pokemon. They got beaten by Bulbasaur and Squirtle, was it?
Yeah.
Bulbasaur and Squirtle. And then he threw out three Pokemon, and Pikachu took them all, one-shot them all. But the problem back then was one of the Pokemon he sent out, I think it was a Golem, and it's rock and ground, so electric moves should have no effect whatsoever on them. But they switched it out. He had three Pokemon on, and none of them were ground. So I appreciate that they decided to change that because otherwise I was going to have a fit.
Yeah, I knew something was different. I just couldn't place it. I'm glad you remembered that.
Yeah. Other than that, the guy should have been disqualified for just throwing three Pokemon out. Like, well, I can't win fairly, so guess I got to cheat.
Hey, he's just 5 generations ahead.
Oh God. Yeah. At this point, so he's a time traveling Pokemon pirate.
Exactly.
All right. I'm game. I'm game for that. But as usual, as we expect, Ash wins. We see them eating and everything, and we get to our main heroes for the story: Jesse, James, and Meowth from Team Rocket, and
Jesse's frying pan,
which she's somehow able to stop a Dragonite with.
But we'll get to that in a minute.
Yes. Okay. Hey, but did you notice? Let me ask you: did you notice anything in particular with Meowth? Did anything seem off to you, or did he just seem as the same as he's always been?
I mean, I didn't notice anything, but I could have missed something because I watched this movie split up and a while.
I don't know. I was checking out Ace Trainer Liam's Twitter, and I think I could be completely wrong. Maybe I misread this. That's completely possible. But I think he said something about how Meowth's voice sounded kind of off. Other than that, he loved the movie. But I don't know. I was searching for that the whole time, but I don't think I ever picked up on it.
Yeah, I didn't either. I seem to think it sounded fine.
Yeah, maybe it's just different perspective, maybe. But anyways, he's out of nowhere. We go back to seeing Mewtwo's lair, I guess, and basically what looks like a Victorian hypnotized woman, and they're just like, hey, and she's like, should I send it? And Mewtwo's like, yeah, let's send it. So a Dragonite pretty much pops out of a completely different department in the castle, which is weird. Flies down towards our heroes and gives them like a mini invitation.
This was the first change that I was actually really, really happy about.
Really?
It was because in the original, Ash is the one who's invited, but in this one, it's Ash, Brock, and Misty are all invited.
Yeah, I mean, he technically never beat any of them, so I guess that does make a little more sense when you start to think about it. And as usual, Brock looks at the invitation. It's like, wow, she's super pretty. And this is one of the times I started to notice that the animation was very different because Brock and his like I guess basically his tick for noticing beautiful women, it seemed different all of a sudden. I don't know, maybe it's because it's been so long since I've seen it, but something felt very strange about it in according to the animation. It just felt a little off.
Yeah, it felt more uncomfortable, I felt,
Yeah.
now that
I think
they're 3D.
yeah, I think my thing is it's so over the top in the anime to the point where it's funny, but when you tone it down, it's almost a little unsettling. And we shouldn't be feeling that way about Brock. He's a little odd, but he's like one of the fan favorites. But who knows? It was just something I noticed. It felt different, but maybe I'm overthinking it. Yes, and all of a sudden they're like, huh, we should go to this, and of course Dragonite flies off, gets destroyed by Jesse's frying pan, and they get their own invitation, and they're talking about, yeah, let's go too. We can steal so much Pokemon. You know Team Rocket by this point. Are we missing anything, or can we move on to the next part?
No, I think that's it.
All right, awesome. So of course they start to head to wherever I guess the nearest Pokemon Center. And Mewtwo just casually decides I'm gonna make it rain on these bitches. No, no, literally, he actually starts swirling his hand around, and rain and wind and thunder start falling. Lightning start falling from the sky. Hey, and so I guess my thing is it's kind of weird because I'm thinking, wait, you want these people to show up to your thing, but you're also willing to kill them because they say later in the movie, like a few lines later, is like, "Oh, the storm is so dangerous, nobody can leave the Pokemon Center," and they're just like, "Huh?" They're just Mewtwo's just like, "Yeah, but I want to test them." I'm just like, "Okay, but if they die, you're not gonna have a challenge." But Mew,
They weren't worthy if they couldn't make it through the storm.
I mean, he says that eventually, but Mewtwo. I can't tell if Mewtwo's the smartest idiot or the dumbest genius in Pokemon. Maybe it's both. I don't know. Anyways, and so we get to this woman named Miranda who's basically saying, the winds are powerful, the winds are this, the winds will take us all. Basically sounding like a fucking Chunibyo, which is the first thing I thought about. I'm just like, okay, does she have 8th grade syndrome? Why are you so dramatic? It's just a storm.
I did like, though, that she mentioned actually you listen to the Wingull. I'm like, they mentioned another generation's Pokemon?
Well, they had Dawn Fan earlier, but at the same time, I'm like, listen to the Wingull. I'm like, wait, what? You're allowed to do that? You're allowed to reference Pokemon that haven't been created yet? Yeah, why not? Why not? But also, what I find kind of strange is everybody has their Pokemon out, and I don't remember Ash pulling out his Pokedex once to use it. You'd think by this point he'd be doing, what's this Pokemon? Oh, thanks, Dexter. But I guess they just decide, no, people will know the Pokemon we're talking about, which to me is, I guess it's fine, because this movie isn't necessarily for new fans, it's for fans who've been along the way, the whole journey. On the other hand, though, like I said, it's kind of a problem of, like, I don't know. It's kind of a problem of let's explain this to the newer viewers who don't know Pokemon as well, but it's just a movie. They don't have all the time in the world. I can understand that compared to a 100 episode series or however long the seasons are.
It depends. It really depends.
Yeah, and then we get the cliche of the main characters being in the back of the crowd during the announcement, and Ash just casually pushes his way through to hear what's happening. Hey, and this has nothing to do with the movie. This is not a knock on the movie. This is just a little thing. I can only imagine what I would do if he started doing that to me. He's just I'm like, get off me. Go to the back. Go. You don't get to touch me. You stay in the back. I'm the main character now. What's up? I got a knife. You want to see that? I don't know. That's always a cliche that bothers me. It's just like, hey, I need to get through. I'm like, dude, we have a whole Pokemon Center. The acoustics in this room are great. Why do you have to hear something from the front when you could just be in the middle? Just, I don't know. It's unless it's like Uncle Ben dying or something like that. Spoiler alert. Then I think it's fine. Whatever. But anyway, and one of the guys, and basically the storm is stopping them from going to the island that Mewtwo is on. And one of the guys says, "Oh, my Pokemon can handle it." And they say specifically, "Oh, Nurse Joy has been missing for how long? Was it several hours, several days? Did they specify, or they just say she's been missing?"
I don't remember if they said a specific amount of time.
Okay. Hey, because my line of thinking is if it's been a few hours, I guess that's fine. But if it's been a few days, shouldn't somebody be there to take over the Pokemon Center, at least until they find her or something? I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's about it. Till now they leave, though.
Yeah.
There's not much difference.
Yeah. Even though they do, somebody specifically says, if your Pokemon gets hurt, gets injured, we can't help you. And the guy's like, nah, we can swim it. I'm just like, wow, grade A training there. Way to go. Way to fucking go. But no. Oh, all the trainers start to leave on their water Pokemon, or some of them fly over her, which admittedly seems even more dangerous, but okay. Hey, they try to arrest the trainers, and then basically they're not able to do it. Miranda says some spiel about, I hope they're okay, like, let's pray for their, something like that. And if you recall from the first movie, Ash, Misty, and Brock are kind of screwed. They're like, oh, guess we can't get to the island. And in the first movie, Team Rocket shows up dressed as Vikings, and they have a boat for. Yeah,
I actually preferred the original.
Yeah,
I like the Vikings.
Yeah, they mainly live in Minnesota.
Yeah, the best way I can say to put the difference between the two is that the Vikings is very much season 1 and series 2 Team Rocket. So when they're in Kanto and Johto, where they just wear disguises and do their motto. This matches more with series 3 and on, where they're more artsy and do like the songs and all that randomly.
Yeah, so I guess we might as well explain what happened. So basically, Team Rocket shows up in sailor outfits, wear it in a Lapras boat, and they start singing for some reason.
Yep.
I don't know. It's not even that it was bad. It's just when I first watched it, I had to pause it and just sit wondering, who came up with this idea? Who decided, you know what? Vikings, I don't know about that. No, singing sailors, that's what we need. It's not even a bad, it's just bizarre. And when I say Team Rocket dressing up as Vikings and making a Minnesota Vikings reference from Ash is the normal scene between the two, yeah, something's wrong. Something is very, very wrong.
So yeah, the next part of this movie is literally the crossing. They're going through a hurricane in a Lapras paddle boat, because you don't notice that until they're actually crossing, that Team Rocket's using their legs to power the boat.
That's right. Oh my god, that's right. They're just like, guys, no need to worry. No need to worry. I'm just like, do y'all have? And then they decide to randomly push a button, and that's a giant jet motor thing. And I'm just like, wait, we couldn't have started this from the beginning? Instead of paddling and wasting our time, you just have to decide, no, let's not use the jet right away. But overall, they use the jet. There are no seat belts or anything, or like things to fasten you down, which should have been a huge red flag. Heck, but they go through. They're jumping up and down. Some of them land. They all land in the water. Staryu and Squirtle help them out. And they notice Team Rocket. Believe it or not, those disguises actually worked. Disguises working in Pokemon? Never. And they see Team Rocket, and Brock says, "About time you guys showed up," which I guess somebody gave Brock the script ahead of time. But they find the trainers find their way, the twerps find their way hey, into the castle area. They return their water Pokemon and they start to explore. And Team Rocket shows up, not with a water Pokemon, but with Weezing. I was so happy to see Weezing back. They never address it. It's just like Arbok and Weezing are gone. We're not showing them anymore. And I'm just like, you couldn't tie that story together. But this movie came in the clutch. It's just like, here's your Weezing cameo. Be happy. I'm like, oh, I am. I'm happy to see Weezing back. Didn't do anything, but it's Weezing.
Yeah.
And so Mewtwo, they look around, they find Mewtwo, and they find all the other Pokemon trainers. Another thing from the first movie, because they said one of the trainers said had wins like this are no issue for Pidgeotto when it's clearly a Pidgeot he's sitting next to. In this movie, he says Pidgeot, so I'm glad they corrected that because. 4Kids was great and all at times, but sometimes they really messed up with stuff. And I don't know if you noticed, but Brock said, I think it was when Brock was flirting with one of those girls, he talked about them eating jelly donuts.
Yes, that is a big time reference back to when they used to make random things, jelly donuts that were rice balls.
I swear to God, if somebody gives me a rice ball and there's jelly in it, someone's getting a back fist. I swear, I'm going to be so mad.
Actually, that might be good depending on how the rice is flavored.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, but here's the thing, you'd have to say, this is a donut that looks like a rice ball. You couldn't say, here's a rice ball, and I bite into it, and I get a donut. That's an April Fool's Day joke waiting to happen. And I know what we're doing. But anyways, Mewtwo basically says, hey, I'm the strongest trainer in the world. And some dude's like, a Pokemon can't be a Pokemon trainer. And my thoughts are, why not? Seems kind of racist when you start to think about it. But I guess we're not digging into that bag of worms today.
And while this is going on, Team Rocket has snuck downstairs through a sewer pipe. And we get to see the first interactions of Mew with any of the characters.
Yeah,
like Frankie Meowth.
Yeah, I was about to say, Mew didn't do a whole lot in this movie besides just dick around with everybody.
That's about normal, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess, but it really... I guess maybe it's a good thing that the movie focused on Mewtwo more, because if it focused on Mew, then it would just be doing more of the same, basically. But anyways, this is when the battles start. Like, Gyarados, one of the trainers, Gyarados, Ash's Charizard, and the other trainers, Venusaur and Blastoise, have fights basically with clones of themselves. And this is where I really like the animation, because Hyper Beam in particular looks really good. Flamethrower looks good. A lot of the moves, you can tell they put time and effort into them, and I respect that. That was really cool.
Yeah. And I also really liked, what was it? They in this part, they bring moves that didn't exist when the movie was made back in 1999, 1998, whenever it was made exactly.
Yeah, that's right.
Because they have Leaf Storm and Energy Ball.
Yeah, I'm thinking to myself, there are a lot of time travelers in this day and age in Pokemon, but who knows? I was okay with it. But of course, per traditional bad guy, ultimate bad guy, all the clones beat their originals relatively easily. Which kind of makes me laugh, considering these are supposed to be the best trainers in the world. All 4 or 5 of them, I guess, who just so happen to be like, we're the best trainers in the world, and they all pretty much get stomped by Mewtwo and friends. So Mewtwo decides to basically make clones of the other Pokemon. So he takes his balls and throws them at everybody, and he basically starts catching them in his own Pokeballs, which is weird because it can capture Pokemon inside the Pokeballs, which I don't remember if that was a thing in the original version. It's been so long.
No, it is. I remember that part.
Okay, yeah. So after throwing his balls at everybody, everybody runs off, even though I feel like Mewtwo said, I'm not taking them, I'm cloning them, which to me implies, I'm going to give them back. Just give me, what, 5, 10 seconds. Just relax.
Well, my issue with this scene is in the original, it seemed to flow better where the people who run to their own Pokemon to defend them actually are attempting to defend their own Pokemon.
Yeah, of course.
But in this one, with the way the animation looks, it doesn't look like they're trying at all.
I thought that while watching. I thought, oh, just let them take your Pokemon. Nice.
The only person I actually believed was trying to defend their own Pokemon was Brock when he was carrying Vulpix.
Yeah. I mean, Misty did put Togepi in a bag, which you think if it can absorb or a mechanical Pokeball, it could absorb a bag with Pokemon in it. But I guess I don't know. Maybe that brand of bag is Pokeball proof. I don't know. So they try catching all the Pokemon, and going back to it, the machine that Team Rocket finds plucks some of Meowth's hair, and basically, from what they gather, they make a clone of it. Of it. So, Pikachu, being pretty much the only intelligent Pokemon, decides to zap the Pokeballs away, but that only works so many times because he just gets swarmed by them, and after a while, it captures him. Ash jumps after the ball. He lands in the water, and I specifically remember his hat coming off, the ball being right in front of him within reaching distance. He puts his hat back on. He tries to grab the ball, and it just flies away. I'm like, dude, saving your Pikachu is one thing, but I guess saving your hat just means so much more than you need. I'm like, you get 6 or 7 more of them down the line. I don't know. That was funny to me. It's just like, my hat. Oh, right, Pikachu. Hey.
All right, so then, as you said, Ash follows Pikachu down the tube that's taking all the Pokeballs that Mewtwo threw out, and then we get the second interaction between our main character and Ash.
Yeah, and he's like, it's Team Rocket. I don't have time for your stupid motto today. I'm like, okay, that's the reason I came here to hear the motto again, but I guess not. So Ash grabs the Pokeball. The machine tries to get him to let go of it, but he forces himself through with, I guess, sheer willpower, and the machine basically malfunctions. They're still able to get Pikachu's DNA as a cloning sample, but all the Pokemon are released, but as a result, all the clones get out of their shell things. I don't know, their embryonic state.
The one thing I can say, the machine made much more sense in this one than the original, because in the original, they fell down into the metal tube and then kind of went out of it as if it was like just a sheet or something hanging over it. Yeah, this one, the thing actually lifted up and let them out.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. But anyways, they all get to Mewtwo's arena, which I'm going to talk about Mewtwo's arena a little bit later. But they show up, and they basically... And Mewtwo, from what I can tell, well, he says, as I have the clones, get ready, feel free to leave if you can. And it shows the storm's happening again. And my whole time I'm thinking, well, you got through the storm the first time. I'm sure you could do it again somehow. One trainer had enough water Pokemon for everybody to get on. So, I don't know.
Well, I mean, at this point, Misty should have at least Staryu and Horsey with her. So you don't see either. We saw Staryu earlier, and maybe Starmie. I don't remember if she still has Starmie with her at this point. Know. And Brock still has Onyx and Geodude, but that's not really helpful. And Zubat.
Yeah. Yeah, but then in the second Pokemon movie, where all the Pokemon are swimming to help the legendary Pokemon, we see an Ekans swimming across. So who knows at this point? I don't know.
Yep.
But anyways, he decides, you know what? The clones are better than the originals. So let's have a fight about it. All the Pokemon start fighting their respective selves, which to me, it's kind of weird how everybody decided, you know what? Let's all fight our... How about this? Guys, if we ever have to fight our clones, we each fight our respective clones. We're not going to switch it up and let the advantages take over. Let's just fight each other. and make it as ineffective as possible. Break.
Yeah, and it's just like, some of them are using actual moves, and then others are just throwing their bodies at each other. It's
Yeah, and Ash gets flung by Mewtwo and lands on the bubble by Mew. Ooh, so we're about an hour in, and that's the first helpful thing Mew's done this whole movie, which I don't know. I don't know at this point. I don't know. It's weird. It's odd. It's odd that they're advertising that the clone of Mew, who is so much superior in terms of battle and everything, and he's the main villain. Meanwhile, Mew, who probably should be the hero of this picture, is barely in the movie from the looks of it.
Yeah, I mean, it is Mewtwo Strikes Back, and then we get later on the Lucario and the Mystery of Mew.
Yeah, I guess I decide. You know what? We'll fix it in 7 years. Let's just move on with what we got. But unlike all the other clones, Meowth sees his clone and doesn't really feel like fighting it because I think they even say your claws look like they hurt, and not surprisingly, Meowth's clone doesn't talk. So it's basically Meowth talking to a regular ass Meowth. So Ash gets flung. He sees all the Pokemon fighting each other, and I guess he feels remorse or something like that for. Yeah, to be fair, this didn't make sense in the original either. So they start getting upset about the Pokemon fighting because.
Well, yeah, it's a combination of everybody, like Misty, Brock, the other trainers, and Nurse Joy are like, Pokemon shouldn't fight. Not like this. It's
not like this.
I'm just like, but they should fight, right?
Yeah, I'm like, you've been kind of building up for 100-something episodes, and at this point, 20-something years, that Pokemon battles are kind of a thing. So, how is what they're doing any different? Like, there's virtually no difference in how they're fighting before than how they fought all the other years. I don't.
They're just all using tackle on themselves. That's literally it.
And that's the thing. A lot of people are going to say, well, they're not using their moves. They're not using their special moves, so this fight's more personal. I'm like, they're trying to actually kill each other. I'm like, yeah, because that's going to kill me. My clone charging into myself or my clone shooting 50-foot flames. Which one's going to kill me faster?
Yeah, so it's just kind of a weird situation. If they were actually showing them getting hurt like beyond normal, where they would normally have fainted by now, they're actually forcing themselves to continue fighting, I think, and using their moves. I think they could have edited this movie to have that.
Yeah, and not only that, but Hitmonlee is a fighting type, so it just looks like it's regularly fighting. And not only that, but sorry, go ahead.
I'm just thinking the only other one that I remember doing anything is either Gyarados or Charizard bites itself, or bites the clone, or the clone bites it.
That's a little more. I can understand that, even though bite is a Pokemon move, but sure. Heck, Rhyhorn. Yeah, I can Okay, yeah, that. But Rhyhorn looked like it fell asleep, like it was nudging and just like, I'll do it in the morning. So yeah, it's consistent at least. It makes just as much sense back then as it does right now. Oh, please like this video.
Alright, so now we get to the kind of the climax of the movie.
Yeah, all the Pokemon are kind of stopped fighting each other. Pikachu slaps itself over and over again. Mewtwo and Mew keep firing beams at each other that I don't think we ever learn the name of. And all of a sudden, Ash decides enough is enough. He charges in and gets hit by the ongoing blast and turns into what looked like metal this time. Instead of stone, he gets turned to metal as he collapses.
Yeah.
Yeah, and all the other trainers seem relatively unfazed by this. They're just like, Ash, hey Ash. Like they don't. I don't know. It honestly kind of felt to me like they didn't really know what happened to him, so they're just like, maybe if we wake him up, maybe if we say wake up enough times, he'll be fine.
Yeah, I don't know. It's they could have gone dark with it, but I know since it's a kids movie they wouldn't. But
I mean, I'm not asking for blood or anything, but at least like turn him into dust or. I hate to use this
they
pun.
didn't even have to turn him into anything. He could just be lying there, non-responsive. They don't have to say he's dead. That it's implied that he could be passed out from
Yeah.
being hit by two very powerful attacks.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Or you could do this is one of the things I like about Pokemon I Choose You. It just show besides the seeing him disappear, it shows his hat on the ground with no trace of him whatsoever. Yeah, and of course we get the whole scene where all the Pokemon start crying and everything, even though most of them had never even seen him before that day. And you want to handle this part?
Uh, I don't know, but the power of love. What's the best words for it? What would you say?
Well, I'd say it, but I like to keep this channel monetized, so I'll just say this. It's the power of plot convenience. It's not, no, it's not even plot convenience. So we're dancing around this. So the Pokemon cry, all the tears go onto Ash somehow, and Pikachu's tears hit him last, and it kind of sends a wave throughout his body, and he just sort of wakes up somehow. You know, and I don't want to be too hard on the scene. I really don't, because all my friends tell me, oh, when I first saw the scene as a kid, I was crying so much in the theater. Oh, when I still get sad watching this, I'm like, I never felt this way. Even as a little kid, I was just like, oh, I mean, he's probably gonna come back. So
And we missed our best chance to get a different protagonist.
yeah, we'll have to talk. We'll have to talk about that another time. But if you're wondering what our thoughts would be for another protagonist, please check out our other videos. I promise you, they're not great, but anyways. So, still though, it is pretty much a cop out to say, "Oh, let's just have them cry and bring him back." When I'm thinking to myself,
The
can't you?
So, real quick before we go on, before they bring him back, the part that actually makes me sad about this scene is Pikachu's reaction.
Yeah, of
Because,
course.
I mean, you feel it for him. He is electrocuting Ash over and over again, trying to get a response from him, and nothing's happening yet. I mean, he keeps doing it, the body doesn't even move. And it's like, I think that is the part that actually is very sad, is Pikachu's reaction.
So not necessarily Ash getting murdered, but Pikachu being sad about it. You think that's what draws people in more than anything?
It's the most human emotion I think this movie shows. So
That's cold blooded. But anyways, I guess my thing is, couldn't Mew just be like, "Oh, okay, let me fix it." Yeah, how about this? How about this? I have an idea. I'm gonna fix this scene right now. Now, keep the crying. You can keep them crying and the electrocution and everything, but have Mew try to fix it. Try to fix Ash, and it doesn't necessarily work the first time. Have Mew struggle and struggle and struggle, but nothing works. But after seeing Mewtwo be like, wow, this trainer's Pokemon care about him so much, even though he's just a human, and in fact, he's got all these other Pokemon to care about him that he doesn't even know. So the combined power of Mewtwo and Mew bring him back. It doesn't have to be a specific move. It doesn't have to be. You don't even have to have dialogue for that part. You can have it be all silent, so it's more powerful instead of just magic tears.
yeah, because I mean, it's not the first time they've done that. Because the only other time they've ever used the move telepathy, which isn't even a move in the games,
Yeah,
is
that's what I was thinking.
is the banned episode from season 1 with Lapras and Jinx.
Oh yeah.
That is literally the only other time they ever mention this move.
Yeah. You know, I find it really funny that in this movie, when we hear Mew talk, we're not phased by it in the slightest. Meanwhile, in Pokemon I Choose You, we get Pikachu talking at the last few seconds, and we're all wondering what the fuck is happening. Why is Pikachu talking? Make it stop.
All right, so you've kind of fixed the scene, and now we're at the ending part. So it's Mewtwo's stating what he's learned.
Yeah, it's not the power of the circumstances of birth, but something, 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 go Bears. I think that's what I remember saying.
No, it's not the circumstances of your birth. It's what you do with the gift of life that gives you true meaning, or something like
Yeah,
that.
I'm happy that they kept the line pretty much the exact same. But on the other hand, there was another quote that Meowth says something along the lines of maybe if we looked at what's similar instead of what's different. And I don't remember. Maybe it's totally on my bad, but I don't remember them saying that in this version. And that kind of upset me because that made Meowth seem so much more human.
Yeah, I don't remember that in this one either, but yeah, that would have been a really good line for him.
Yeah, but it's one line. It's not. It didn't take away that much. It's just something I really noticed. But overall, well, Mewtwo takes Mew and all the other clones, and they start flying off, and they decide to erase the memories of everybody. For did we ever learn in the original why he did that?
No, he mainly says, "I've learned a lot. I need to go ponder this, and I think it's best that you forget this." And then he erases the memories,
So
only for them to come back in 2 seasons when they meet up again.
I was about to say, and of course, so that means everybody learns nothing.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I'm sorry, but this movie, we'll get to that at the end. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. So it shows them in the Pokemon Center saying yada yada yada. The storm's gone, everything's fine, and then Nurse Joy, who if you were paying attention to the movie, was the same woman, the brainwashed woman, and Nurse Joy's there, not kidnapped somehow, and she's like, "Hey, it's okay. We have enough space for everybody." So I guess they all just sort of forget about the massive invite from Mewtwo or something.
Yeah, because none of them react the same. When they're told that the fairy isn't going out, they're all like, "Huh? Oh, well, I guess we need to stay here." But all their reactions beforehand were, "I can make it on my Pokemon."
Yeah, which makes me kind of wonder, all those people, how much space does a Pokemon Center have? How much room do people have to sleep there?
I'm guessing it's like an actual shelter from a storm. So some people will get rooms, and the rest have to sleep in the lobby.
And then some of you just have to sleep outside. Sucks to suck. All this for free. Wow. Healthcare and Pokemon has healthcare figured out for Pokemon at least. But anyways, they stay there. They leave once the storm's done, and Ash, Misty, and Brock see a certain legendary Pokemon in the sky.
Well, Ashes.
Yeah. Couldn't
Because
give some.
Misty and Brock are blind.
Well, Brock doesn't open his fucking eyes, so that might be an issue with it. But anyways, they see, and Ash is like, hey, I saw a legendary Pokemon. I just started my journey. And then they all continue their journey together. And for last bit of closure, Team Rocket are still on the island.
I don't remember. I would have to go back and rewatch the special. That was the Return of Mewtwo or whatever it's called. That it might be that that Team Rocket actually does remember Mewtwo. I don't remember that if he does or not.
That raises more. That raises even more questions. Oh, but that's the movie. Overall, it's kind of the same as the very first movie to me. Is it good? No. Is it great? Definitely not. But is it enjoyable to some extent? Of course. The visual, like the first movie, the visuals are nice. A lot of the battles, well, the few battles that they actually have that aren't one-sided, are really good. And they do a good job of recreating the movie, for better or for worse.
If I had to choose and make a recommendation, I would say if you can find the original, watch that one. There are some nice things that they've changed in this, but overall, I think the original is still better. There's just I feel like they went more out for that because it's the very first one. Plus, you get
Yeah.
the Pokemon Play Park thing beforehand.
Oh yeah, with Pikachu's in the gang war. I remember that.
But it's so much better than uh, not getting anything in this one.
Yeah, to be fair, I would have preferred if the movie was just about Pikachu and its gang turf war. But I guess the thing is, I appreciate how the first generation of Pokemon's kind of a mess. Yes, people keep saying electric moves don't work on rock Pokemon, which is BS. There's a lot of in the first movie, there are a lot of things they say, oh, this Pokemon, when in reality it's something completely different. Seriously, I think they called an Alakazam a Slifer and Alakazam at one point, or the other way around. But so I appreciate that this movie didn't try to stick too much to the original. It actually decided to fix some stuff.
Yeah. But yeah, with since I don't since it's the first attempt at a 3D animated Pokemon movie, it's okay. There's definitely they need to work on making the animation look in certain scenes look more realistic. Like as I said, when the people are supposed to be defending their Pokemon from the Pokeballs, and they're doing, and some of them appear to just be standing there going like this with a Pokeball 5 feet away, flying around them. It's like so scenes like that, and then trying to match the voices to the lip sync
Yeah.
a
And
bit better.
not to mention, I feel like I brought up with Brock, I feel like they tried to be a little less. I felt like they tried to play it safe a little bit to an extent because Brock wasn't as wacky and over the top with his expressions, which for a show like Pokemon, you kind of need Brock to be over the top and wacky with stuff like this because if has a lot of energy with it, it's goofy, but and plus it makes for a good contrast when Misty grabs his ear and pulls him away, super deadpan. But when he's super deadpan, it comes off a little unsettling, and when Misty has the exact same tone, it's not as funny to me.
Yeah, there are definitely things that, as I said, I prefer the original. Just because I feel that it gets the characters. But again, they were the main characters at that time, so it's a bit hard to go back now 20 years later and remake the movie with new voice actors and try to get the same reaction.
Are you upset that they didn't get the old cast for this? I know a lot of people are.
I would have liked them to, but I understand that they can't do it all the time. I mean, they moved on. I mean, it's been like a decade since they changed voice actors.
Yeah, like it was like season 9 when they changed everything, and I've been over it for years. I'm fine with it, but it would have been nice if if they would have said, "Hey, Veronica Taylor, Eric Stewart, you guys want to voice somebody, anybody?"
Yeah, I mean, they could have had new them come in and not even do the main cast, do someone new if they wanted to, but
Like maybe one of the game characters, but I guess they're not going to do that. I guess all the hard work the game characters have put in slaving away. Just no movie, no TV special. No. Yeah, no. Ash. Just Ash. I'm not bitter. But overall, I think the main message from this is make sure you're a fan of Pokemon before you watch this movie because this movie doesn't do a very good job of explaining what the hell a Pokemon is, why they're fighting each other, why it's wrong for them to fight each other, or even why Meowth can talk, which you don't necessarily need to explain that in the very first movie, but just, I don't know. I'd say to newer Pokemon fans, watch several episodes, and if you like that, then watch the movie. Because I don't think the movie is a good starting point for newer fans.
Yeah, because they really don't explain what's going on. If you want to know who the characters are, I think you should watch the first 5 or 6 episodes through the Pewter City gym. When you complete that, then you know the characters well enough, or at least know of them, to be able to go watch this.
Yeah, of course, of course. But overall, I wasn't bored. I was entertained. The movie's still a little nonsensical, and it's definitely not one of my favorite Pokemon movies or even one of my favorite movies. But I still had fun with it. I'd be willing to go back and watch with all of us watching together.
Yeah, I think a good thing. Do I want them to remake more of them? Probably not. I would prefer them to decide to make new ones that tell new stories.
Which they're kind of, sort of doing, almost. They pretty much made Misty and Brock non-canon in the movies, but I don't know. I don't know. I guess we should talk about this. Did you see they released the trailer yesterday for the newest Pokemon movie in Japan?
No, I did not see it.
Well, we got to see the new mythical Pokemon, and it basically is a shiny Celebi movie featuring the newest mythical Pokemon we've been hearing about.
Okay, so the one that they revealed a few days ago on the website.
That would be correct, yes.
Okay.
So I think that's everything. I don't think we have a whole lot before we start talking in circles. Well, yesterday was Pokemon Day. Hopefully, they keep us entertained for many, many more years before I die at 27, due to probably disappearing. I don't know. But overall, I'm proud to be a Pokemon fan. It's given me a lot of good memories, a lot of below average friends, but you take what you can get. So, Game Freak, voice actors, everybody who's worked on Pokemon, fans, thank you guys. Let's hope for more.
Yep.
And join us for our next video, what's our next video?
7 months from now?
Yeah, but what are we going to talk about?
Where we've been for 7 months?
Oh, no. My goal, like real talk, my goal for this channel to get more proactive, do more videos, potentially do more videos by myself. I've talked about anime reviews and stuff like that. I don't know if I want every anime review to be a Skype call or an hour-ish long video, but overall, we'll talk about that. We'll see how we feel. Maybe you guys have some suggestions for us, but I do want to do more anime reviews because let's just say there are a couple that I definitely want to get off my chest. But overall, let us know. Anything else? We need to tell them anything else at all in the slightest?
No, I don't think so. I think that covers everything.
All right. You know the deal. Like, subscribe, comment. Let us know what you think of the movie. If it's just as good as the original, well, better, worse. If you hate them both, which I'd love to. I'd be interested in talking to those people, but just let us know. Anyways, it's been good talking to you guys. And with the Anime Egotists, just remember, if you think your opinion matters, you should probably keep thinking. But anyways, I'm Foster.
And I'm Williamson.
And this has been the Anime Egotist review of Pokemon, the movie, Mewtwo Strikes Back, Evolution, despite the fact that nobody evolved in this movie. And this has been the Anime Egotist saying, if you disagree, you're wrong. You're wrong.
Egotists. And actually, I'm a better trainer than Brendan. Oh, come on, May. A little humility?